Hey everybody, this edition of Lionheart Radio is brought to you by the world's first creatine coffee. Each scoop is a full cup of a Colombian Arabica bean coffee infused with 5 grams of a creatine monohydrate. Now here's the deal, guys. A lot of people have differing opinions about creatine, and unfortunately a lot of really shitty supplement companies have tried to sell it to kids that want to get big, and they package it as some kind of steroid alternative, and they tell you if you cycle it and if you stack it, then you'll gain a bunch of muscle mass. And at the end of the day, none of that is true. What is true is that it's one of the most studied and beneficial supplements on the market for strength, recovery, and endurance. So whether you're a runner, whether you are a strength athlete, or whether you're somebody that wants to enhance cognitive function and just feel healthier in everyday life, a pharmaceutical-grade creatine monohydrate is going to help get you there. Go to www.creatinecoffee.com to learn what all the hype is about. And now, on to the show.
Hey guys, this is Lionheart Radio. I'm your host, Memo Cho, co-founder of Blue Aviv, along with...
Hi guys, Claudia Challoner, Doctor of Physical Therapy and nationally ranked powerlifter. We have a special guest today, DJ Murakami. I got it, yes, right on. He is a certified personal trainer. He is FRC Mobility Specialist, certified nutritionist, certified level 1 Agatsu upper and lower body mobility and movement. He is AN Olympic Weightlifting Level 1 certified and the certified stick mobility coach. So thanks for coming on.
Stick mobility.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So I am really stoked to have you on today. And I want to talk about your training methods and what's your training methods and what do you want to provide your clients with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to figure that out too. What are my training methods?
Yeah, cool.
I'm glad I could ask you. You're like one of the strongest people I know, smartest people I know. I don't know, what do you guys think if you were to send your mom to go, her doctor told her to get healthy, what would you have her do?
Move.
Move?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough question because there's so many things that she can do, but...
And they all think they're right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of different paths to get to the end, too, that will work efficiently for a lot of different people. So I don't think there's necessarily a right way or a wrong way, per se.
Or maybe there's different ways for different people.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like, because I went through high school bodybuilding, and then speed and plyometric work, and then powerlifting phase, Olympic lifting phase, calisthenics phase.
Yeah.
And at the time I was doing it, I thought that was the best way to do it.
Right.
And that's what I had other people do.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're all like that. Like, you're doing what your trainer is good at and passionate about.
Yes.
Always.
100%. Yeah.
I think.
Uh-huh.
And just like, what do you get strong at? And I had an existential crisis trying to figure that out, like depression. Like, what is strong? Does it mean barbell lifts? Power Olympic lifts, body weight. So
what is strong for you?
Yeah.
What do you define
as strong?
After all that, you figured out.
Yeah.
So I think, now that kind of brought me out of my depression.
Yeah.
I think everything is strength. So when people say mobility after Dr. Andrea Ospina, man, just knowledge bombs. I think mobility is aspect of strength. I think just body weight control is an aspect of strength. It's all how strong are you. If your hip can't go there, but passively can go up here, you're just not strong enough to get there.
Yeah.
And if you call it mobility, that's fine. But me thinking, I'm just weak, that's what got me to be like, I need to work on this. Like, I could get stronger.
Yeah.
So I think everything is strength. I think the strongest people in the world are kids. If you watch kids, they have that walk it off strength, you know?
Mm-hmm,
where
yeah,
they could
totally.
you just eat shit and they get up and they smile and they don't tear anything. They could just, you know.
Yeah.
They're all
Shake
loose
it
and
off.
limber.
Shake
Yeah,
it
and
off.
that's, I think that's a lot of athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
You could react, absorb, and deal with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so much, I'm strong enough for me to take this straight barbell and do this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what if someone hits you with a barbell, you know, and you fall?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, that's, and that you can't, like we were talking about earlier, about the Bosu ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's closer to, yeah, real natural strength.
Right.
So you have to think about, if you're out in the yard doing some work, you're going to have an odd shaped stone or bag of mulch or something that's not going to be that nice barbell with
Yeah.
the weight equally distributed on both sides. And so you've got to still be able to brace your body and move efficiently without injuring yourself, be able to move with that odd shaped object.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if there's anything outside the gym that you would pick up like a barbell. With the weights on the outsides, your hands on the
Yeah, I
outsides.
know.
And how much that crosses over to picking up a rock. Because I personally started picking up rocks 2 years ago. Just where I take a walk, there's a bunch of rocks, so I try to lift them. And I couldn't lift up really any of the heavy rocks. that,
Just the odd shape.
you know, I thought it was just because it was a different skill, but it's really different than lifting up a barbell.
Yeah.
I know, you guys know Julian Benau? Yeah. So he talks about most people externally rotate on a barbell lift,
Mm-hmm.
and a hinge is a deadlift is an internal rotation of the hip,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't think about because I was thinking, you know, twist the ground apart,
Yeah.
torque, you know,
Yeah.
with the band around your knees and everything.
Yeah.
So it's funny, I had one of my girls that I train, she's super strong. So she deadlifts a lot, squats a lot, and I had her pick up a 50-pound, like a bag of rice at Costco, sandbag, and she was immediately like, had trouble picking it up. She's like, oh, my back, like, it's 50 pounds. I'm like, you deadlift like, so much.
Yeah.
So we stopped, you know, conventional deadlifting and just did sandbag work for 2-3 months. And every time she got stronger with the sandbag, it was something in her head saying, this is bad, I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I think it was because you have to pick it up naturally, completely different than you pick up a barbell.
Yeah, totally.
And I probably yelled at her for not
Yeah.
rotating
For doing it
years
naturally.
ago at some point. Yeah, and then she goes back to the barbell and deadlifts a lot more fluid and natural and feels better. And that was not from me giving any cues. That was just learning how to pick up something we naturally pick up for, you know, how many hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and exactly we're talking about with the Bosu ball.
Yeah.
So the WEC method, what is it?
Yeah,
WEC
yeah,
method?
yeah.
Yeah, how you were describing to me this activation is what I was doing last week in the trees. I got on the tree, and when you're standing there high above the ground, you're not going to want to fall. You're
Yeah.
bracing, and you automatically know what to do. I was with Rafe Kelly, you know him?
Uh-huh.
You guys got to interview that guy.
Okay.
So smart. But he has evolved move plays. It's
Okay.
thing. But so we got in the tree, and I was climbing down this limb, and I noticed I automatically went into the quadruped contralateral bear crawl.
Yeah.
Was squeezing because I don't want to fall. And I was like, dude, I spend so much time having people crawl on the ground because we know it's good for us. They say it's good for us.
Uh-huh.
I guess that's why. It's because
Yeah.
you're going to do it outside. But yeah, there you're like, no, this hand and this foot. No, don't put your butt here. The coaching is so hard, and I think it's because they're like, well, why? Why am I on the ground crawling? Okay, it's
Yeah.
good for you. I'm like, I think that's a big thing in here. It's like, why though? You know?
Yeah.
But you go in a tree and it's like, okay, you don't have to think about it. You're like, I'm doing the thing to get me to the next step. And everything I'm squeezing isn't because I know that, it's because I feel I have to do that.
Yeah, this is my security.
Yeah, there's consequences if
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we're talking about yard work, the variability and everything, you're just forced to do it a certain way, and you can't get really good at compensating or using a different way, like with a linear, dead, straight object, which is unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that lately. What's a lot of fitness professionals are talking about, stick to the basics, don't do fancy variability, just, squat, bench, and dead and CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I disagree. I think maybe the more dynamic, chaotic system that you can't break down and simplify, maybe working from that way is also important.
Yeah.
Probably both sides. Maybe it's a feedback loop, but yeah, I love the barbell, but I wonder how many people have hurt themselves from it or have been helped by it in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with barbell. It's just from what we tell ourselves what we should be doing.
Yeah. And from a natural, like how the human moves and naturally, how that plays in.
Or leave it in.
Whatever. Yeah, so it's just about like the body's natural movement and how we move as humans. And you're talking about climbing trees and lifting up rocks. Like that's what we have been doing for years and years.
Yeah.
So.
And it's fun.
It is fun, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it's its own reward. Yeah, but I guess the only thing is you can't scale it and standardize it and compete as well in it.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the Scottish games. Is that what it is? Where they pick up the...
Yeah.
Oh, they do that in Strongman.
Yeah. Strongman.
They do Atlas stones, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, so what's funny is I started doing the Atlas stones a couple of years ago. And I finally used it outside the gym when I was getting rid of doing yard work. I got rid of an old cement box planter. And sure enough, same technique, just bring it up.
Awesome.
Tucked it in, got in the truck bed. I think it was like 200 pounds, which is the most I've ever done.
PR.
Yeah, PR right there.
Yeah.
Got rid of it. Functional fitness.
Dude, I helped my buddy Keith. I helped him move the other day, and I was bringing like a washer upstairs, like from the van, and I was like, "This is just the sandbag carries are coming in really handy now.
Yeah.
Like it's just crosses over really well. The more variability, yeah."
Yep. Yeah, totally.
The awkward hold, how it's not stable, it's awesome work to do.
Yeah. So what do you typically incorporate into, because you do small group training mostly, and then some one-on-ones. So what do you typically include into your training with a group? Like what's a day look like for you? I mean, I know you want to keep it variable, so it's all going to be a little different, but what are...
Well, I do, I just try to hit, so have it on my phone, so when they get their workout and it's listed, I kind of got this from the Agatsu people. I changed it a little bit, but I list their workout as a menu. So I have vitamins first, greens, main dish, and then dessert. And vitamins are like, do your joint, rotations and try to move to your in ranges every day. That's like taking your daily vitamins just for health. And that's something you're not going to see right away. You're not going to get jacked in 2 months. But long term, that's how you, stay healthy. Greens is more some, we'll do some mobility type exercises. Main dish is strength work. And dessert is, get a nice pump, a nice sweat. Or maybe like more of a Metcon conditioning type of thing.
Yeah, awesome.
And I just try to hit as many planes of movement, and I don't think I've programmed a push-up in a long time.
Mhm.
But we do a lot of crawling now,
Yeah.
and rotational stuff and reaching.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just try to make it fun, which is different for me, because if you asked me a few years ago, I would have been like, oh, squat, bench, dead, press,
Right.
pull up. And don't mess around with these things just to look cool on Instagram. Like, stick to the basics.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think the variability from that top-down method, I think that might help people.
Yeah.
Someone was just telling me there's a world champion, some young girl's a rock climber. So she grew up rock climbing competitively and never really did gym work like pull-ups, strict pull-ups that much.
Yeah.
Just rock climbing. And they had her test a one-arm pull-up weighted. I think it was like 25 pounds on her hips. And she just busted it out like nothing. Never, people practice that for decades. A one-arm shift unweighted. And this girl's just, because her joints are so strong everywhere, just busted it out.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we hear about this, like other countries, these older people who stay active and they don't squat. But I saw a girl in Thailand who had a better squat than I'll ever have in my life. She's like 60 years old, just playing with her kid in the squat. Yeah, but she just lives down there as part of her life.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, I think you quoted something, might have been on your Instagram page the other day, about how the more that you blend our mobility and stability work, or our warm-ups per se, into our strength training and our actual workouts, then the healthier we're going to be in the future. I might be misquoting that.
Yeah,
but,
pretty much.
But yeah, that's kind of the basis of what I was talking about. And I love that. That's awesome that bleeding those two is, I think, where you're going to get the most longevity out of your body. You're going to feel the best doing any kind of functional activities throughout your daily life. But it's also going to help you improve if you're competitive with certain whatever, powerlifting or lifting or whatever. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think the whole goal is my goal and myself is to be just like a kid again. Forget everything I learned growing up and go backwards. Is what I want to do. Yeah, I love watching like kids at recess. Not in a creepy way, but I mean, you guys know if people have kids, if you watch them play.
Yeah.
Kids at school, and when they're young, they just pop out and they're chasing each other, tagging each other. Everything they do is reacting to their friends or to something else around them or whatever catches their attention. And when they're tired, they stop and they look around, and nothing's like forced.
Yeah.
And then you get to the age where they go to PE and it's like run a mile, and then you just see their like shoulders go down and they go forward, and they're just in this like, why am I doing this? It goes back to the whole why. And then they go into sports and it's like, do this one thing a million times, get really good at it. Don't do anything else. And then they get out of shape and grow up and get the dad bod. And they're like, I need to get back in shape. So they think, I'm going to go back to what my coach told me to do, the push-ups and the run in a straight line. And I think we forgot, like, way back when we were just playing. But we have that thing in our heads, like, playing it's not work. It's not going to pay off. Or we should feel guilty about it. But, I think it's sick. It makes me sad when you go by a gym and you see all the people on the treadmill and they look to go on the bike. And it's because, like, we didn't tell them. It's like, we should go back, maybe. You would have more fun, right? You think?
Yeah, totally. That's awesome.
If we can, though. Or if kids nowadays are even doing that.
Yeah.
Because I have 10-year-old kids who can't touch their toes. And
I think it changes.
Well, video games have pretty much ruined society.
Things have changed
Limited
a lot.
a lot of people's interest in outdoor activities. So that's a big problem.
But have you done the virtual reality headset?
No.
Oh.
Oh, you guys haven't tried that? Oh man, go to like a Best Buy or a mall. So you put it on and you're like in a whole nother world. Like you could look everywhere 360,
Yeah.
and you're like
Yeah.
knocking shit over. Yeah, it's so much fun. Hopefully we go that way.
Yeah,
It's just
where you're
fun in
actually
itself,
active.
Like, we're tricking ourselves into
Going
paying
back.
money to move around. But hey, that's better than sitting down and using thumbs, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome.
They do have those trampoline parks that I feel more adults are getting into with the gymnastics and whatnot. You know, you can safely do flips into like a foam pit now, or
Yeah.
play dodgeball and trampolines.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and man, I used to play dodgeball at In Cahoots Sunday nights when they used to have it. And man, you play dodgeball for a minute as an adult, and you're about to puke. You're gonna puke.
Yeah.
It's hard work, especially when you're trying to be competitive. Man,
Dude.
dodgeball is awesome fun.
Let me get in that league with you.
Dude, and they still have it. I think, well, they do got leagues like Bobby and whatnot, but it was in a bar. They would close down the dance floor. So
you had a
you'd
few drinks.
yeah, you'd have some drinks. And then
Yeah,
that's probably why I wanted to puke after, but still, I was having a puff and sweat and like, man, this is so much fun.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite games is handball. Maybe they call the wall ball down here.
No,
You
yeah, the handle.
bounce it against the wall with the big rubber one.
Oh,
It bounces the ground, hits the wall, and then the other person has to do it. You go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite games.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a kid too. So I had people doing that during like a boot camp. Play the game.
Uh-huh.
When you lose, you have to go out and do rows or push-ups or whatever, some exercise, and then you hop back in line. And I remember someone just not trying purposely. Oh, I lost. I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to get a workout in. Like, you know, I want to skip the game. I'm like, the game is one of the best workouts you could do because you're not going to get this anywhere else in the gym.
Yeah.
You're having to not only change all these directions and react to the ball with your hips and your body, you're having to interact with someone else. So you're like, where are they going to put the ball?
Yeah.
Where do I have to be? And you're already thinking, where am I going to put the ball for them to
Strategy.
get out? So just not even physically, just your brain and your social, you know, cueing and all of that. Where else do you get that except for play?
Right.
You know, and I think that's a big piece we're missing.
Well, coming
Just-
in when we walked in, you were doing the tennis ball tosses in
yeah.
that circle group. That looked cool. You know, making people. Well, you would have them call their name, and then they would toss the ball
Yeah.
across the way.
So we did like at first a thing where you're staring ahead, and we would toss the tennis ball, and you couldn't look at it. You had to use like your peripheral vision. And yeah, I learned that from Ido Portal.
Okay.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
about well, because you're big into the just whole movement fitness aspect, like Ido Portal's method, right?
Yeah, I trained with him last year in Thailand.
Oh,
movement camp.
Very
And,
cool.
I worked with some of the students, and yeah, that guy's.
He does amazing stuff.
They say he's like a cult leader. Well, I would join that cult.
Sign me up.
So,
But, yeah, I love listening to that guy.
can you explain his method a little bit?
No,
Yeah.
It's breaking the code.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just digging deeper.
Uh-huh.
So I think there's like 3 levels to people's like view of fitness.
Mhm.
It's like one is muscles, work the muscles. You know, I went through that stage.
Yeah.
Hit my thighs and my traps and back. And then Ido saying, no, it's the patterns.
Right.
What patterns can your body do? And Rafe Kelly, he takes it one step further and says, what are the solutions you could create with your body? Which means if you're thrust in a situation like on a tree or reacting to someone else, okay, you could do a lizard crawl, but is that going to help you find a solution to this situation and orient yourself to what's coming at you?
Yeah.
Which was a lot of, you know, neurological stuff also. And yeah, I think gets closer to we're talking about kids playing and athleticism in general. I think is more on that end. And it's hard to kind of isolate and put in a test tube because it's so variable.
Yeah.
But I think maybe working from that end and then using that as like an organic assessment to where you have limitations. And then going to like FRC stuff or joint isolation, like physio stuff off of that. But who knows? Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about the FRC and the training behind that?
So, man, I hope I don't bastardize this. I already kind of do. Like, it took me 2 years to figure out what FRC was.
Okay.
So I took the course, and that's what brought me out of my like existential crisis. Like, why am I? How am I helping people? But yeah, he says it's not so much like we get focused on the movements we make, like do this movement. But are you doing it functionally, as in, are the joints that are creating the movement, are they doing their job? Are you just compensating and making the shape? Like if you think about a yoga class, everyone's in there, do this pose. Everyone's going to make that shape, and they're all going to look different.
Yeah.
Because they all have joints that they're compensating for, or some are doing a lot of work, some aren't. So he's just saying, you know, make all your joints work nice.
Yeah.
And then when you go to do a movement, you're probably going to do it easier, more functionally, safer, and stronger, because you have more options in your hardware. Really simplistic. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I was like, so what do I do now? I'm going to post some FRC, quote unquote, exercises. And then I realized there are no FRC exercises. It's just principles that you use for anything you want to do to make it better. Is that a
yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. Because I, even just with my clients and stuff, I see a lot of people, or, you know, in the CrossFit gym or wherever, it doesn't matter, kind of just going through movements sometimes to check off the box. Like, yes, I did these squats, or yes, I did this whatever. And they weren't actually present with their movement, and they had no idea what they felt, or what their body felt like when they were doing it, or what joint felt like this or that. I mean, I can kind of see how that would really relate to that, because I think a lot of people just go through their workouts, their training, whatever it might be, and just they're checking off boxes. Yes, I did 10 of those, or yes, I did 20 of those, and they had no idea what their movement felt like, or what muscles they were supposed to feel, or how their body was even moving. So they just knew that they did the movement, in quotations.
What is the movement?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is a squat?
Yeah. And what are you feeling?
Like, was it Dan John said that there's no A for a squat? Do you guys know what A for a means? Because I'm not sure. But it sounds
Sounds
yeah, someone just gave that, just categorized that shape and called it a squat. And then I think someone made it an exercise. Who was it? I saw some article, like the history of the barbell squat or something. And it was like 1934, I don't know what it was.
Okay.
But this guy had a bar, and it was the ugliest squat ever. But he started, and then they made a competition, and then they found out this is more efficient to do it this way. And now present day, we're saying push your knees out. But it's just a name we gave this thing that people do.
And then we put different criteria on it so we can make it competitive.
Yeah, which is good. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have people. If you have someone come in and you're like, all right, do a squat, and then they're just like squat like this, and then they're like, okay, and then they're like, oh, you have a shitty squat or whatever. And then you have another 4-year-old mom come in, who you're like, do a squat. I'm like, oh, what's a squat? I've never squatted. You do this, and then they're like, look at it, okay, and they do it perfectly. And then you're like, oh, wow, you've never squatted before. And then you're like, here's some weight. And they do it, here's some more weight. And they struggle, and like, okay. And they just get stronger every time. And those are like people who grew up doing gymnastics as a kid, which I don't think they like have squat routines in gymnastics.
They have that body awareness.
They have joint control, body control.
It's crazy.
Body awareness, yeah, like high level.
Yeah, totally.
But they don't squat. But 20 years, 30 years later, you ask them to squat, and they're just so much better at all these things. Yeah, and we're not going to have adults do gymnastics so they can get better at squatting. But yeah, what is it in gym? It's I think the body awareness and control.
Yeah.
Like, which is strength. Yeah, that's that deep level that we're all trying to figure out how to give to everyone, right?
Yeah, totally. So I was reading your blog about you sleeping on the floor. So I must ask.
Yeah.
So what was that about?
It got in my head because of Katie Bowman. It was in Move Your DNA. It's one of my favorite books. She has reasons for it, as in, the loads put on your body and your tissue adapting and just being stronger. But I tried it out one night. I actually threw my mattress away so I couldn't go back.
Okay.
I would have went back.
You went off.
Yeah.
After the first day, I was like, how do I get a new mattress? Dude, I felt like I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Everywhere was sore. My neck was jacked up. I was like I got my ass beat for a month in a row. It was like that. And it just slowly got better and better. And it got to the point where I was fine doing it. Now I like it. I slept on a bed at an Airbnb the other week. And it's, it felt nice when I hopped in, and I forgot about it. And, that's it.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm going to continue doing it is because I realized how I couldn't sleep on the floor naturally.
Yeah.
I had one of my clients, his daughter, tried it out. She's like, I want to sleep on the floor. And then I was like, how was it? She was like, she didn't say anything. She's like, the dog stepped on me, and she didn't get the big deal. And I was like, yeah, I want to be like that too.
Yeah.
I guess that's that kid strength.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid sleeping on the ground at sleepovers.
Sleep on the floor all the time.
Yeah, I still don't mind it. Anytime I go to the desert, I got a trailer and I just sleep on the floor. Yeah, some days it's a little rough, but for the most part, I don't normally have a problem with it.
Yeah. So how long so you're still doing it now?
Yeah.
But when did you start doing it?
July or August.
Oh, okay. So you've been doing it for a while now.
For a while, yeah. I like it. Cool. I felt weak when I realized I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Same reason I take cold showers.
Yeah.
It's not for the health benefits. It's because I want to be able to take a cold shower and not suffer,
Yeah.
That's why I drink warm water in the summer. So I don't become a pussy pretty much.
It's brutal to yourself.
Yeah, and I stopped, this is exactly 2 weeks, I stopped drinking coffee.
That's rough.
Might have been the hardest one. That's going okay.
Coffee brings me so much happiness.
Yeah, it's such a great drug, yeah.
So, what else do you offer for your clients? Do you do online programming as well, or do you do all one-on-one person?
I have online training, which is offer a template, which is what we use in our classes here, so people could train along with us. Mm-hmm. And it has the video tutorials, everything included.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
You mentioned the stick. What was it?
Stick mobility?
Stick mobility, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So Neil, Dennis, and Mitch, it's some guys up north, San Jose. They created the system using sticks. We have some back here. You want to play with them.
Yeah.
But you could apply force to them and bend them. It's really a simple tool, but I love the fact that, one of the best tools in the gym is the ground and like a pull-up bar, right? But this one allows you to kind of go in that
manipulate from one movement to another.
Yeah, you're like side bending, you're going transverse plane, and it allows you to get that other dimension of movement in. and just irradiation, and that with the FRC stuff works really great. You could tell someone to, tighten up, push here, activate that muscle, or you could put a stick in their hand and say, push it into the ground, and everything, goes along with it.
Fires automatically.
Yeah.
Without them even thinking about it.
And that's
Yeah.
like we talked about the tree.
Yeah.
External cues, that's the way to go.
Mhm.
People don't know what you mean when
Yeah.
externally rotate. They don't
Yeah.
know what that is.
Yeah, no. And they might have never felt that ever. Or those muscles like turn on really, or they don't know how to associate that with. So those external cues are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if I never learned internal, external rotation, or if we never learned cues, I don't know. I wonder where I'd be right now. Because I feel like I did all these cues to the max, and I got injured, and then I ended up doing the opposite to bring me back into balance, and that was the cure. So I mean, we say it to help. Like, we don't want your knees to cave in, so we say knees out. But if your knees are neutral and you say knees out, is that helping more? It's cues are weird.
Yeah.
So the more you can make it natural, just do this. I think there's going to be more variability. It's going to be more dependent on where they feel comfortable, but you're not ingraining something unnatural.
Yeah.
So that's a stick. Is it just a regular stick? It doesn't bend, or you can't flex it or nothing?
Yeah, you could bend it.
Oh, you can? So, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll have to
Yeah, I want to mess with
put
that.
you guys
after
on
this.
it after this.
Yes, we're gonna play around.
And you can take really cool pictures.
Post to our Instagram so we can be as cool as you.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's top. We can go over the top 5 Instagram tips. Just like and subscribe, and I'll email it to you.
Sweet. So, is there anything else that you try to incorporate into your training? Do you do a lot of sandbag stuff? Do you work it out like with sleds, or is it something that you incorporate at all?
Yeah, I really don't ever do my own training. I get coaches, RC, people smarter than me like you. If I do my own training, I'm just going to do what I'm comfortable with and good at, and not what I suck at.
Yeah.
So, the training I have now, I'm doing sleds, sandbags a lot for strength work. And then I work on a body weight scale, like I have someone helping me with hand balancing, handstands.
Yeah. Cool.
So I've kind of gotten away from the conventional barbell lifts, and that kind of pisses people off when you do different stuff with the barbell. I think I posted something just weight loaded on one side, and I'm like squatting and snatching with it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your videos. See, I like that stuff because you don't see it, and I'm sure it's very different, very rewarding, in obviously in a different way. But no, I've been wanting to try a few of your movements. I think the most recent one you did was you had the flat bench in front of you, perpendicular to you, and you did the pigeon stretch with a barbell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So you're getting, how would you describe that as far as more of a stretch or strength or both?
Yeah, I think of it as a pigeon squat.
Pigeon squat.
Which, if you're not doing it with weight, it's a mobility exercise. And if you have weight, I guess it's changes into something else.
Yeah.
Think of it like
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, man, that looks cool because I actually like doing the pigeon stretch, and I want to try that next week sometime. But yeah, it just looks awesome. It's different. I had never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah, just adding more load. I've seen people like hold a plate or a kettlebell on it. Just add a little more. It looks cool.
Well, that's really all
That's
that
what
matters.
Yeah. Is this gonna look cool?
Yeah.
That's the deciding factor.
So with talking about mobility and flexibility, stability, strength, and tying all those together, how do you find a balance with those, and how do you educate people on finding a balance on those? Because sometimes I see clients that overstretch, or they're doing all of these crazy stretches and they have no stability at those end ranges that you were talking about, because There is. We have passive range of motion and we have active range of motion. So passive range of motion for listeners is if you are laying on your back and someone takes your arm up overhead towards the floor and someone else can get it there for you. So that's your passive range of motion. So if that's all the way to the floor, 100% good job. But if you cannot get it there to the floor, then we're not utilizing your full range of motion. So we don't have the motor control, we don't have the strength in order to utilize your full range of motion. Is that along the same lines of what you kind of teach as far as passive and active kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you find the balance with that?
I really don't do any passive stretching with anyone. Unless they need
yes.
it. Like if you're trying to do the splits, and usually you could pick someone's leg up here and they're fine, but then you let go and it drops. So they have the passive flexibility, they just don't have the active control, which is aspect of strength. So you get stronger until you kind of meet yourself there at the end range of passive and active. And then we could do some passive stretching, but almost everyone already has the passive ability.
Yeah.
And that's why, kids, you could move them around everywhere. They have all this passive ability, which is why are kids so good at it? They just practice and they get good. Like martial arts. Like just practice this kick a bunch of times and you're going to get good at it. And then you have an adult who is being taught by the instructor who learned as a kid. And they're like, just practice. It's like, but your joint can't go there.
Pop it here.
Yeah. So, I think active control, which I think is just the beginning of strength training, and then you add load to it, it becomes a strength exercise. I like to just flow that together. And a little bit more organic strength work, which is you're reacting to someone else or the environment, and not a static lift with an inanimate object.
Yeah. So where can people find you on Instagram? Or first Instagram, what's your Instagram?
Instagram is Strong Camps.
All right, cool. A lot of good videos on there, so check that out for sure. And your website?
And the website is danielmurakami.com.
And if you could give one piece of advice to all of our listeners, what would it be?
One piece of advice, I would say to play more, or at least make something you love doing your goal. And if you can't do it anymore, that should be your goal of training, is to be able to play again. I think we lost sight. That's the whole reason we're doing this fitness thing, so we could play.
Cool. Awesome.
Love it.
Well, thanks for coming on, DJ.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, thanks, DJ.
Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. I hope that the information from today's show will make you fitter, happier, and healthier. For the show notes of this episode and every episode, head to www.lionheartrad.io. Yep, just like Lionheart Radio. And please, if you have the time, head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us to know that we're on the right track in delivering you reliable information and value. As always, feedback is welcomed. If you have any comments on the show or would like to suggest a guest, send me an email at rick@luavive.com. That's LUAVIVE.com. Thanks for your support, and we will see you next time.
Bitch, I feel good. Don't I look stupendous? My shine is so endless, and shit you can do to end this. Even when I'm dead, niggas still gon' bump that chip shit. Coke, white, Escalade on cinches for you dipshit. So you won't forget this. Midwest nigga be the coldest.